Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Muhammad Atif and this is the summary of today's lesson. Today we started activity E, unit 1, English student book, page number 10. And in this activity we discussed the speaking skills, and in this lesson we will be able to understand how to show preferences and how to make suggestion. So before we started the lesson, okay, we discussed the definitions of preferences and suggestions. So with the whole class, we discussed, we shared the definitions of preferences and suggestions. Preferences means a greater desire of someone or something than another person or thing. For example, you have two choices and you choose A over B. So it means you have a greater desire for A than B. So this is called preference, that you choose someone over something or something over something else. So suggestion means an idea or plan that someone suggests. If you want to give your opinion to someone, but not in a forceful way, okay, just a suggestion. And suggestion means that the other person is free to adopt it or not. Okay, so it's not like advice or order. It's just a suggestion, and it is just your opinion that you gives to someone, so he or she can do the things better. So after discussion on the definitions, we started the activity E. And in this activity, before we started exercises, I played two videos related to preferences and making suggestions, and I'm going to include those videos right now in summary videos so you can also understand again. So here are the videos. The first video is about expressing preferences using prefer, would rather, or would sooner. So here it is, please have a look.
About expressing preferences using prefer or would rather or would sooner. Okay, now we'll go straight to the blackboard and we can see that we are going to use prefer plus a noun or ing.
So this is the first rule, or you can say the first structure, how you can make a preference. So you will start your sentence with the subject, then you will use the word prefer, and then you will use one of these forms, and you can use noun or you can use ing form of the verb. So have a look at the examples followed by this. See, I prefer Coke to pep. This is the example of prefer plus noun.
Prefer Coke to Pep.
To Pepsi. Okay, so this is the example of prefer plus noun structure. Okay, so this is the subject I, then prefer, then noun Coke to another noun Pepsi.
Pepsi. I prefer relaxing to working.
So this is the second example. This is the example of subject plus prefer plus ing form of verb, relaxing to working. Both are verbs with ing form.
Or I prefer walking to jogging. Okay, expressing your preferences with a noun or ing. The next structure is would prefer plus to infinitive.
This is the second structure in which you will start your sentence with the subject, and then you will write would prefer, and then you will write to plus base form of the verb. To infinitive means to base form of the verb. So these are the examples. I would prefer, this is the short form of I would. I'd prefer to finish early. Finish is the base form of the verb with infinitive to. So this is called to infinitive, to base form of the verb, finish early rather than to work until late. One more example, I would prefer to finish my assignment today rather than to do it tomorrow. So here is the third structure, And third structure is would rather or would sooner. Okay, plus bare infinitive means infinitive with not. Okay, the sentence carries the word not, so you will express that something is not going to happen or something is not true. So you will call them also the negation sentences, the sentences that contains the word no. So here you can say I would much rather be happy than sad. Here this means that you want to be happy, you like to be happy, not sad. Okay, happy then sad means happy but and not sad. This is called bare infinitive. Then this is another example. I would sooner be happy than sad. So you can use would sooner also, okay, or you can use just simple would rather. These are some more structures that you can follow. I would prefer.
I would prefer you to, I would prefer it if you, I would rather you, and I would sooner you. Okay, some examples. I prefer you to drive, or I prefer it if you drove, now or in the future. I'd rather or sooner you drove, or I'd rather or sooner you didn't drive, now or in the future, expressing your preference. And
So these are some examples. He used all these structures. You can use I would rather, I would prefer, I would sooner. Okay, so all of these structures, all of these phrases you can use in the beginning of the sentence, and you have to take care of the structure of the sentence while you are using these. So by using these, you can make your preferences. And now let us discuss about the suggestions, how we can make suggestions. I'm gonna include the video of about suggestion also. Okay, so here it is. Kindly watch the video.
Now, in English, there's a lot of different ways to offer suggestions. Now, let's say, for example, a friend of yours has come to you for advice and they're a little bit overweight. They want to lose a few kilos or a few pounds, and they ask you for your advice and you give them some suggestions. Now, the first thing we can use is this one here, which is why not? So, why not go on a diet? Why not go on a diet? So you're offering a suggestion, you're offering some advice. Why not go on a diet? Another one that we could use would be, why don't you? Why don't you start jogging, for example? Why don't you start jogging? Another one could be, you could always try eating less. So we're offering a suggestion. You could always try eating less. Perhaps, or maybe you could stop drinking beer. Okay, you're a little bit overweight, stop drinking beer. Perhaps you could, or maybe you could stop drinking beer. And the last one on this slide is, I suggest you stop eating junk food. Okay.
So these are some examples how we can make suggestions. And as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the lesson, in the start of the lesson, that suggestion are just your opinions, and you use the words just to give your opinions. Okay, these are not advice, neither orders. So you can see the structure. Why not? Why don't you? You could always, perhaps, maybe, and I suggest you. All are these just reflecting the opinions. Okay, and these are not advice and not even orders.
So there are 5 ways that we can offer suggestions. Why not go on a diet? Why don't you start jogging? You could always try eating less. Perhaps or maybe you would stop drinking beer, and I suggest you stop eating junk food. Now, let's go to another slide and have a look at some more ways that we can offer suggestions. Now, on this slide, we're going to look at more ways to offer suggestions. Okay, now let's set the scene. Perhaps a friend of yours is not happy with their job, they want to change, and they come to you for advice, and you offer some suggestions. How would we do this? Well, let's have a look at some ways. If I were you, I would change companies. Okay. Condition about how after about try another job. Okay. Why don't you try? Considered to university.
So these are some more examples to offer a suggestion. So you can say, if I were you, and you can say what, how about, what or how about. You can use one of them, yani what about or how about. Then you can say, why don't you try? And you can also start your sentence with, have you considered? So all are these different forms and different examples and the structures how we can make suggestions. So after watching the videos, we listened to the track and we started exercise E. And the track was about listen to Maria and Christos talking how many different ways do they use to show up preferences or to make a suggestion. So in this video, in this audio track, we are going to listen about a conversation, and in that conversation, you will uh, hear some suggestion and preferences, words and phrases, and you have to identify them while listening. In during the class, we did the same thing, and the students identify and highlighted different phrases and words that they have used in the in the track. So let's listen to the track.
Unit 1, E, speaking. Activity 1.
Hi, Christos. How are you?
Hey, Maria. I'm really great. What about you?
Everything's fine. Why don't we go to the shopping centre later? I want to see if I can get some new trainers.
Yes, we could do that, but I'd rather go at the weekend. Can you wait until then?
I suppose so. But why?
Well, I get paid for my part-time job tomorrow, so I'll have some money to spend.
Fair enough. So let's go at the weekend instead. But what are we going to do today?
Okay, so that was a track, and in that track, we discussed and we identified, the students identified uh, suggestion words and phrases, and after that, we read those this we read this audio script on page number 232, and this is the track. Okay, you can also read it on your page 232 of English student book. And then after that, we found out the meanings of these underlined phrases, like why don't we go, and I would rather go, and let's go. And so we change these sentences into our own words. For example, I would rather go, this shows the preferences. So you will say, I would choose, or I will prefer to go to the weekend. Okay, so you change this I would rather go phrase into your own words. So same like that, we change the rest of the words given in this audio script. And that's all for today, and inshallah we will continue this topic in next lesson. So see you in next lesson. Thank you very much for joining. Take care. Allah Hafiz.